Hello and welcome, everybody. This is Driver Interviews with Bobby Fazio. Oh, I already messed it up already. I said Driver Interviews. It's Driver Interviews with Bobby Fazio. And today is Wednesday, July 6th, 2022. So this year's flying by. Anyways, everybody, welcome to my new project here. So everybody knows that I was heavily involved with the Class Racing Today podcast for the last year and a half, which I had a great time. And it's a great show, very well produced, very well maintained, and really enjoyed it. But this is my own little side project that I'm doing now, driver interviews, where I will be, meeting with drivers here from the comforts of my own home. Definitely interviewing drivers out in the pits, live on location, like always. That's the whole point of driver interviews. Tech segments in the future. Let's see what else. Picks, power picks, drag insights. Everybody's seen power rankings, so we're going to start diving into that. Maybe we'll even give away some prizes to anybody that can make correct picks or close picks or pick better than I do. All kinds of good stuff coming up. And tonight, for my first episode here, we'll say, I branched out of my comfort zone. I left the stock and super stock world for a night. So I'm going to interview somebody that's in the .90/top alcohol dragster world, which means I'm really going to have any clue what I'm talking about tonight, but I'll do the best I can. Kelly Kundratic is joining us tonight. Kelly, what's up? How you doing?
Hey, Bobby. Thanks for having me. I'm so honored. I'm the first guest on your new project. This is really cool.
You are welcome. Thanks for coming to spend some time with me tonight and coaching me through a little top alcohol dragster, maybe some super street, super comp, whatever else you got for me.
Hey, it's pretty much
a little product. I don't know. You're still like your dad is still into that, right?
Yes, yeah. He's actually, so we're in full disclosure pitted at New Media right now, getting ready for the double event this weekend. He's setting up. So you got me out of the setup procedure, the awning and everything.
There better be a bottle of Slick Mist waiting for me when I get there.
I'll pay you in Slick Mist for it.
All right. So, Kelly, before we really get started tonight, I want to make a couple announcements. I'm wondering if you can actually help me with this. I've been trying to keep everybody updated on Will Monroe, who was injured at Cecil County Dragway back in May. And last I read, his mom said that they were close to getting out of the hospital. If anybody watching can comment on that and let us know what the deal is, we appreciate that. Kelly, I don't know if you've heard anything that you can share.
Yeah, I'm just checking the family updates that we've been getting from Jessica on Facebook, and it says that hopefully they'd be out on Wednesday, which is today. So praying for them, thinking of them. I know it's been a long haul, but there's been a lot of people, following along, and really a lot of support from the sportsman ranks to get them back out.
Yeah, and I to be honest with you, I did not know who Will Monroe was. I didn't know that there was this young kid driving a super gas roadster, and I didn't know him until this happened. And he just seems like a good kid, a young kid. It's a shame to see what happened to such a young kid, but pulling through, it sounds like. And from what his mom is saying, good things are on the horizon. I know that kid can't wait to get back into a race car from what I was reading. So I really, really hope and pray that happens for him, because personally, I don't know what I would do if I wasn't able to race. I live for this, and if I wasn't able to do it anymore, I really don't know what I would do. Maybe, I guess this for the rest of my life, but I would be devastated, and I know Will would probably be the same. So I'm hoping that he can get back in a car, and all will be well in the future.
Yeah. Likewise. I don't take any day for granted. Any day we get to, race or strap into a car and do this is a gift. So hopefully, he'll be back out and here with us at the races. And I know everybody's, eager to see him win this race in the fight to get back out there. So all the support here from our JKR family and Lucas Oil family to get Will back out, and hopefully, we'll get good news and an update that he's on his way home.
All right. So best wishes to Will Monroe. Now, I guess like that brings me to a topic that I probably, I wasn't even sure I was going to get to, but now I'm concerned about it, which is this .90 racing, this super street, super gas, super comp. Okay. Now, Will was in super gas. That's the 990 class. Is anybody like seeing any kind of safety concerns with being on a throttle stop for what seems like a half an hour and trying to go, I don't know, 160 miles an hour? Everybody wants to come from behind and chase, except for there's the occasional person that hits the throttle stop down near the finish line.
The top end stop.
Top end stop, right.
Yeah.
But these cars are going so fast now. Like, do you think there should be maybe a mile per hour limit or some kind of...
Ooh, you're hitting me with the controversial topics right out the gate. I love it. You know what? Honestly, I could see it. I could see it being instituted where we're in a sport that's all about innovation, and that innovation leads to speed, leads to some potentially dangerous situations. On the other side, the innovation and safety, tries to keep up with that speed and risk. On the other hand, who am I to say, let's limit the innovation, let's limit that speed? But I do think that there are some safety concerns that come into it. And I hope that people are, as much as they're chasing the speed, they're chasing the safety aspect of it. Some people treat the safety and safety equipment as optional, and I've just never had that desire to treat it as optional, or the choice, frankly, to treat it as optional. So that's a really long answer. You'll never get a short answer from me. Probably inconclusive. I don't know if I want to pick a side on the let's limit speeds, but let's chase safety just as much as we're chasing speeds.
All right. That's a good answer. I like that. You could run for office someday. I'll give you that. So speaking of safety, though, now, Kelly, you are well aware of how important the safety equipment is, because back in 2016, you had a close call, correct?
Yeah. So perhaps that's where it comes into the not optional for me. So I'll back up a little bit. I've been racing super street for years, and always was my dream to get into super comp. And we came across the fortune of having a family friend. Their car was for sale, and so we purchased that. We wanted to turn it around in time for a memorial kind of event at their home track. They had passed away. We wanted to do this in honor of their family and just kind of premiere the car in its new life at Lebanon Valley. And I'm a big proponent of trusting your gut. And my gut all day, the day before, was in knots. And I don't know what it was, but I was sick. We were driving up to Lebanon Valley. We kept having to stop. I was hanging my head out the window, and my mom was like, "This is not you. You know what you're doing. I don't know why you're so nervous." So to combat that, we actually had another driver jump in the seat to take a couple passes during the test session before Lebanon Valley. And it was Doug Dahl, world champion, comp racer, well-known Doug Dahl.
Absolutely.
Right. Perfect person to trust your car with.
Right?
Give you the evaluation, the thumbs up, if everything's good, if everything feels good to them. So Doug took it for a couple 1,000-foot passes. His evaluation was, I think this is a pretty safe car. I had no reason to doubt him or his experience, and certainly still don't doubt his experience. But the next pass, my first pass in the car, lost brake pressure. The brake line cut on the wheel well, and my parachutes did not deploy, and I went off the end of the track at 168 mile an hour through the finish line. So,
wow.
Yeah, quite an interesting first pass.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, I was fortunate enough to walk away. Actually, got out of the car. Just that adrenaline like coursing through me, and I was so angry that I felt the need to tell everybody I pulled the chutes, I did what I could do. I just felt the need to explain myself. Like, I don't know. Have you ever like messed up and your first like reaction is just to like explain, like I did what I
Over-explain,
could.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Every
And
time
like,
I get on the track, yeah.
right, like I did what I could.
Every time
And
the wind light doesn't come on, yeah.
right. I thought I hit the brake enough. Yeah, but in that case, I don't think anybody was really looking for an explanation from me. They looked right to the car to try to figure it out, and looked at me to see that I was in one piece. Obviously, just really, really upset and quite frankly, heartbroken that we weren't able to make it the memorial kind of race that we wanted to for the Williams family. So, but from the lowest pits, there's triumph. So I learned a lot from that experience, and I was able to get back in a car just a couple weeks later, get back on the horse and ride again. So, but the safety equipment saved it all. It made all the difference. Not sure I'd be here today or walking if front end collision, no brakes, no chute, without my head and neck restraint and all working properly.
Well, a life experience that definitely can, to have the experience of that is unfortunate. To learn from it is very beneficial. So I have not, knock on my head here, been through something like that. But I mean, your instincts take over. I'm a much better reactor than I am thinker. So I guess I don't know. I have no idea what would happen in that situation.
I think you have enough years in a car, and if you're training, if the people who taught you how to drive, hammered it into your head, this is what you do, this is what you do, your reaction just takes over. And at that time, I felt like I made the right decision. Most recently, I'm sure we'll talk about it, but at the national event with the top alcohol car, I thought I made the right decision, and everyone that I have to answer to was happy with it, and I walked away. The car gets to race another day in the top alcohol scenario. But actually, interestingly enough, two things. Interestingly enough, the motor that was in that Super Comp Dragster is still in my Monte Carlo today. So it's the same motor. We plopped it straight back out of the Monte Carlo, out of the Dragster. It's flip-flopped. It went from the Monte Carlo to that Dragster back to the Monte Carlo. So that was one thing. We didn't have to rebuild an engine or anything. We're able to save that. I lost the other thing. There was one other thing I was going to say about it. That's okay. It might come back. Do we have a visitor?
Do we?
No. I don't know.
We have a couple. We have a couple comments here. Vince 4K'd said, "I don't know if it would prevent it, but excessive braking needs to be policed better." So that goes back to our earlier conversation.
Yeah.
About the .90 cars going a little fast. And then Walt Walker says, "Good evening, people. What's up, Walt?"
Hey, Walt.
Now, what I did also, while you were kind of walking us into Top Alcohol Dragster, so we know that you race Super Street, you have some experience in Super Comp, but Top Alcohol Dragster, you were mentioning there that you just had, you made a decision here that saved the car and is, made it able to race it another day. So let's get into that. What's going on in Top Alcohol Dragster? How did this come about?
Yeah, so I'll start, I guess, the chronology of it. I always knew I wanted to race Top Alcohol Dragster. Like, I don't know if I ever had the courage to speak it out loud until the last couple years. That alone can be a really big, scary thing, is saying what your dreams are out loud, because then you have to admit them to other people. And like, what if it doesn't happen? Then, there's that admitting it thing again.
Yeah, but if you say it out loud, now you're stuck with it and you have to make it happen. So
yeah, right.
That avenue.
Right. So a few years ago, do you attend the PRI show?
I did for the first time this past year.
Okay, cool. So I've been going for probably the past 3 or 4 years. My dad's gone, I think, every year since it's like existed. So I wanted to go and check it out and kind of see what the networking was about, see all the companies in one space. So I was at PRI show and I met Marina Anderson through a mutual friend. And at the time, I just thought she was this cool chick that raced Top Alcohol Dragster. Didn't know a ton about her. She was awarded the 30 under 30 that year. So I picked up the Drag Illustrated, read about her, and I was like, whoa, this chick is badass. Like, she is so cool. And kind of just a quick friendship from there. We stayed in touch over Facebook and Instagram, as people do in the racing world. We connect and, just kind of follow each other from there. Flash forward from that year, I think it was like 2018, 2019, to the end of 2020. She posted a Facebook status and said basically that she was looking for someone to come and crew with them for the season in Top Alcohol Dragster and potentially drive for them in 2022. So at that point, we were in 2020 looking out for 2021 season, and then as far out as what we are now in 2022, which just seemed like a crazy amount of time to be planning for, but sometimes you have to really be thinking out that far. So
Right.
I think I screenshotted it and sent it to a couple people, and I was like, is this crazy? Would I be crazy? Like, is this nuts? Does this sound like something I could do? Is this the right answer? And people were like, I don't know. Why don't you just talk to her? Like, you know her. Why don't you just message her back? So I did that. I messaged her. We jumped on the phone later that night. I remember it was like I think it was the day before Thanksgiving. And we talked on the phone for probably about 45 minutes, an hour, and both felt pretty good about, seeing where it went from there. I tried to keep it a secret from Thanksgiving through June of the next year when I actually for them in 2021. Mostly, like something could happen and, that falls through, that partnership doesn't happen. They end up not going to race, here, there, anything could happen between November and June. Parts could not come in, we just don't know. So
that's been a big thing this year.
Yeah. Right. That's becoming more and more of a common thing, unfortunately. So ended up flash forward to June, started going to test sessions with them. We did 4 or 5 races together. I did right side of the car, learned as much as I could from her as a driver and from her family and the team. Participated as a full team member, traveling all over with them. And we all felt good about it and said, let's try to move into licensing and plan for 2022 to drive. Kind of the synopsis of how with that story, all the credit for taking a chance on.
Well, that's awesome. Now it seems like you are you okay over there? Do you hear me? It sounds like you were freezing up a little bit there toward the end of your story.
Welcome to Central Pennsylvania. Sorry. Can you hear me okay?
I can now, yeah. So what was it like, your first pass in a Top Alcohol Dragster? What's it like in those cars? Do you have, is that one run on nitro or is that alcohol? Do you have to shift those things? Is there handbrake, clutches? I really don't know much about those cars. And I should, because Rich McPhillips' shop was always like walking distance from my house, and I probably could have went over there and learned a ton of things in the first 20 years of my life.
Yeah, setup is never do get a chance to top alcohol dragster, blown cars. There are a lot. I don't even pretend. The nitro injection I drive a fuel car. People will essentially, but they're all really important. There's a clutch, fuel lever. It's once you get the step.
All right, Kelly, that Central Pennsylvania bandwidth is slowing you down a little bit there.
Awful. This is not like a type alcohol dragster. Can you hear me?
I can. It's just it's going a little slow now, so it's coming in and out. Maybe the satellite is like flying over or left that part of the country there. But you're definitely, you're telling us all about. You're trying to educate me right now on a top alcohol dragster. So I'm hoping that this bandwidth frees back up.
Yeah.
All right. I think you're good now. Go ahead.
Just give me a look if it's not if it's freezing up. But yeah. So anybody that drives a top alcohol dragster, like the blown cars, they make fun of the A-fuel people because us A-fuel people, we're stabbing steers. So it's relatively simple once you get the steps, but all of the steps are important and can really fluctuate what the car puts up on the scoreboard. So for the most part, the main pieces are clutch. You've got a clutch on your left foot. You got a handbrake, fuel lever, and parachute lever, and of course the steering wheel. So if you know the right combination of when to utilize all of those pieces, you've got a head start, a winning combination going on.
So tell us what happened there at Norwalk. Now we saw that you did qualify, which is a feat in and of itself. There were more than 16 cars there.
Yeah, we were. If I could just for a second talk about the qualifying situation, because that was a dream moment. For anybody watching what had happened, my first qualifying pass, I didn't really feel that. What actually happened was I felt the car go 1-to-1, so it feels like a kick in the pants, and I wasn't quite mentally aware of that's what was going on. It was my fourth full pass in the car, totally. So that was an interesting sensation. I let out a little early. Norwalk is short, relatively speaking, compared to some of the other tracks on the circuit. So I also didn't want to miss the parachute. So I was a little nervous my first run, fully admit. So we went kind of slow, but there were a lot of tire shake, a lot of up and smoke. So frankly, things happen so fast between qualifying runs that I don't always know where we qualified or what's going on. I just know whether we're in or out. So after my team, everyone asked me, why did you let out? And I didn't really have a great answer. I realized like that's not racing, Kelly. Like we need to get it together. So for the second qualifying run, I think I went a 565 full out, which was good enough for 15th. So we finished the day at 15, which was for us. We're a smaller team. It was a big deal. And honestly, if that was the end of the weekend for me, that was my goal, was just to qualify and not be completely last. Sometimes you got to know where to set the bar, even if it's low, so that you can continually, raise it to meet your standards. So going into the third qualifier, there was some really tough cars sitting on the outside and sitting like number 16 was Matt Cummings going into Q3. So like that's a no-brainer. Like likely they're gonna, unless something crazy happens, he's gonna pass me. And there were some really tough other competitors that had some really great success sitting on the outside looking in. So as dramatic as it was, the 3 pairs in front of me, I got bumped out in those 3 pairs, and I had to race my way back in. And the moments before the car fires up, you can hear everything the announcer says. So I could hear Alan explaining that I had to drive myself back into the field. And I'm thinking, I don't care what you do. You're getting this car A to B. Like, if you feel it go 1-to-1, you're going to drive it. If you feel it go a little left or right, you're going to drive it. You're going to figure this out because that's what you need to do. That's racing. So I drove it. Had a couple holes go out, wiggled a little bit. You can watch, we have the video up on my Instagram of the rear of the car. You can see it wiggle a little bit, but made it down A to B. And the other thing that I'm such a fan of the class that everybody that's watching the class, you know what the driver goes. I don't have a radio in my helmet, so I had no idea what I went. I got out at the other end and I was racing Maddie Payne. She was already qualified, but I looked at Maddie and I was like, Maddie, that right before that run, I got bumped out. And I really want to be in this race. And she looked at me and she was like, right now, before your crew gets here, you say a little prayer, whatever you got to do. If it's whatever gods you pray to, whatever it is, like you do that. And you just pray that your crew has good news when they come down here. So I did. I took her advice because she is a very bright young lady and pretty successful for a young age too. And my mom was almost falling out of the truck as the truck's coming down at us. And like, if that was the happiest, I don't know if I've experienced joy like more than in that moment, seeing my mom just like, and everyone just so ecstatic. We didn't think we were going to qualify for that race. It's historically difficult.
It's a big field there.
And it is. I think there were 20 cars entered. Maybe 19 ended up showing up. One of our competitors, I think, had some struggles in his family, some health issues going on, so they weren't able to turn out. But all really tough cars. It's the middle of the season, so a lot of people have already had a couple laps under their belts, and it's my very first national event, so a lot to work against. But that's why I wanted to go to that race. It's tough, and I knew it was tough. So.
Well, that's awesome that you got in. Now tell us, you were rewarded, right, with a first-round matchup against Jasmine Salinas, which is probably everyone's maybe worst nightmare at this point in the game. She's pretty fast. She's pretty good. She's won a couple races. So tell us what happened there.
Yeah, Jasmine's tough. You're exactly right. Jasmine's tough. Tuned. Rich McPhillips's tuned setup there. She actually signed my license, so maybe she was regretting it at that point that we were going to have to race each other. But I knew going into it, you can't ever count yourself out. Everyone has a chance. That's why we race cars on the track and not on paper. Everyone has a chance, and you got to go up there like you've got a chance no matter what. So that's what I did. And unfortunately, the car had a mechanical failure. I mentioned before some of the parts of the car. One of the integral parts is putting it to the high side with the fuel lever. So you bump in, you put the stage on, the pre-stage on, and then you pull it to full fuel. That's when you hear the cars kind of make that gurgling, like
right,
low rumble. That's when you know. So I pulled the car to full fuel, and when I let go of the lever, it fell. So it was no longer connected. And now I had 7 seconds to figure out what I was going to do. And in racing, 7 seconds can seem like a lot of time or no time at all. In that scenario, it felt like no time at all. I went through an entire encyclopedia of information in my mind about what I could possibly do if I took the run, if I didn't, what could happen mechanically, what I should be thinking of. And I made a decision that ultimately I was going to try to roll in and just bump it in, and maybe she would go red.
Go red, yeah.
Right. I've taken a ton of time. Like, maybe she's like, what is she doing over there? Maybe it'll psych her out or something. I don't know. That's not the kind of games I play. I do tend to take a longer time staging. That's not a secret. Anybody could watch me. I just take my time, but this was not that. So unfortunately, as I tried to bump in with the handbrake to go do that, I shifted my eyes up and went to release pressure just a little bit to do that, and the tree was already coming down. So next time I've got a game plan. Hopefully we won't need a next time game plan for if the fuel lever breaks. We've already got that added to the checklist of things to check.
What are you doing to this fuel lever? How hard did you pull on this thing?
I don't know. Honestly, I think my team may have thought the same thing. Like, what kind of pressure? Like, it's a pressurized line. Like, what are you doing?
I'll get it to the high side if it kills me.
Yeah, my Hulk strength. I just but yeah. So anyways, when I got out of the car and explained to them, I had to do the slow push of shame down the track. They pushed me down the track. It was a whole thing. In front of all those people, I was wow, 0 to 0 real quick.
Jeez. What are you sinking the seat in there?
Yeah, I was like, oh boy, this is again, back to the point of feeling like I have to explain to everyone what happened, because rookie comes out here and she can't stage the car her first round. Like, I've made it to plenty national event rounds, and just not in an alcohol dragster. So I go back to the explaining yourself thing.
Oh yeah, and you're thinking of that as they're pushing you down the track. All right, first part of the explanation is going to be ...
Yeah, never. It's an interesting thing. It's a question you wonder when you're getting into one of these cars or any fast car. Like, do I want a radio in the car? Do I want to be able to communicate with my team? Do I not? Like, it's a personal decision and a decision you have to make, with your team, whether or not you want that level of communication. In that moment, I wanted it. I don't have one, but I wanted one just to say, hey, sorry. Like, that was,
You'd start the explaining a little bit earlier,
Yeah. Because as long as the drive was, or the push down the track was for me, like the drive in the truck, I'm sure they were thinking, like, what happened?
Right. That's unfortunate. When are you going back out again?
Yeah, so we've got 3 more races scheduled with the team, Anderson family team, Chicago Regional, Brainerd National, and my home race, Maple Grove National.
All right.
Yeah.
Brainerd, that place sounds great. I haven't been there, and I want to see that track someday, and I'll definitely see you at the Maple Grove National.
Awesome.
So that opened up today for grade 8, if anybody's watching and wants to register for the Maple Grove National event. And you have 8 grade points or more, get in there. We've got a couple people that said hello. Raz Di Tommaso Frunzi. Is that one of my long-lost cousins there? Do you know? How you doing? Where are you from? I know this guy, Peter Lanciers. Good evening from San Diego. I know he was just in Europe, and now he lives in San Diego, so he's obviously got it made. He went from a Euro trip back to beautiful West Coast weather. And Mark Sargenti, hello from Long Island. Hello, Mark. Mark owns the 64 Mustang that I drive in Stock Eliminator. So glad you're watching, Mark.
Awesome.
Thanks for joining us.
Awesome.
So, Kelly.
Hold on. I just have to, for a second, you said San Diego to Europe and back.
Yeah.
I'm sure, Peter, do you even know what time it is right now? Like, you're just going to be all kinds of, unless this is a trip you make often. That's crazy.
He's probably wide awake right now, but tomorrow at, 12 noon, he's going to be sleeping.
Yeah.
Walker, that experience she's gaining so fast is priceless, and he's absolutely right.
Yeah, so. I'm a big believer in everything happens for a reason, Walt. So, if that's the way it had to happen, my team was super apologetic about a mechanical failure, and people take that personally when you pride yourself on your car. I had no blame, no fault there, but they were apologizing, and I was just saying, look, it's better that it happened at the starting line than at the finish line. And then I didn't know if the car was, shut off properly, and then my brain's racing on if that's going right. So yeah, quick thinking. The experience is definitely priceless. Thanks for weighing in there.
Yeah. And then here's Pete.
Yeah,
we get you, Pete, definitely.
That's
except
great.
Except we weren't fortunate enough to go on a Euro trip lately, so we hate you right now. Actually, never mind. Oh, Pete, and he's always at San Diego Padres games too. Man, that guy's living it up. I want to be like you when I grow up, Pete.
Yeah, I'd take some San Diego weather here right now. It is so humid and hot and gross, and yeah, not great. San Diego was one of my favorite places. I don't know how many people know this. I live like 75 to 80% of the time in a camper van. That's where I'm sitting right now, is in my camper van. San Diego is one of my favorite places to go when I drove out west. Beautiful out there.
Nice. So the camper van, is that for work, or is that just the way you want to live? Are you it was just into the wild kind of person, or
It was just a whim. Honestly, in full disclosure, it totally gave me the freedom and flexibility to be able to say yes to the Top Alcohol gig. I can work remotely from anywhere. And so, for example, tomorrow I'm able to work. I take my PTO by the hour, so I can take my time runs, take a couple hours of PTO, and be at the racetrack. Mentally, for me, it gives me a lot of clarity to have be able to shift my focus like that. I get really bored if I'm sitting in the same spot for too long. So it is kind of mental stimulation to be able to jump around and do different things.
All right. So yeah, it definitely offers some flexibility, except that it burns a lot of fuel, and the way gas prices are right now. Is that thing running on diesel or gas?
Yeah, we won't talk about that. It's gas. I'd love to figure out. I'll plug a Lucas Oil product. I do use a lot of injection cleaner, the Lucas Oil fuel treatment. So I top it off with that a little bit every fill up, and definitely helps.
All right. Well, maybe I got to give that stuff a try. Now you are working in the agricultural world. Is that right?
Yeah. Yep.
Tell us a little bit about this. What do you do? Where'd you go to school? Things like that.
Yeah. So my family had a farm growing up. I don't know if many people know that about us Kundratics, but we had a dairy farm, and that's where I spent a lot of my time. Summers, weekends when we weren't racing. My mom did the books. She did the finances. My dad, fixed basically anything my grandfather needed fixing around the farm. So my love of agriculture was born on my family's dairy farm in northeastern Pennsylvania, Wayne County, the Poconos. It's beautiful, even if you're just driving through 84. it's a beautiful place to be.
Kelly, is that where you're originally from then? Northeastern Pennsylvania?
No, so we did a lot of commuting back and forth from Maryland. I grew up in just north of Baltimore, and both my mom and my dad's side of the family are from that area, but we live, I grew up just north of Baltimore until I moved to Harrisburg to work in agriculture as a contractor for the Department of Agriculture. But I work for a nonprofit that focuses on long-term success and viability of agriculture as an economic driver for the state.
Okay. Yeah. All right. So you guys had a dairy farm. I did not know that. That's cool. So you were kind of born into the agricultural world. And then where'd you go to school for that?
So after undergrad for agriculture education, I wanted to be a teacher. I wanted to teach other people where food came from, how to grow it. Ag actually a big part of being an ag teacher. So small engine repair, welding, plumbing, electricity, all of like the skills you would need on a farm. Went to school at West Virginia University, got all of these really practical life skills through agriculture education. Taught high school for almost 2 years. It was the hardest thing I've ever done. Teaching is so hard.
Yeah, I know.
All of the credit to teachers. You're a tutor, right? Or are you teaching?
Yeah. Oh, no, I was a teacher and started tutoring on the side for extra income, and then I tutoring was really, really flourishing. So I actually was making more money tutoring than I was teaching. So I just quit teaching and proceeded to tutor for the last 10 years. So
yeah,
that's me. But you were teaching high school for 2 years. I did that, and it is very difficult. What were you teaching?
So I was teaching agriculture, mostly animal science, and then I taught in greenhouse. So I taught students how to grow in a greenhouse, all the skills in growing vegetables, and then marketing those vegetables, sales, all of that, basically from seed to sale type of thing. Super practical, but when you're right out of undergrad, teaching high school is like, they would say things like, oh, did you know my brother? My brother went to West Virginia, and like at the same time, and like, yeah, I actually did know your brother. So there was not a lot of separation there in terms of age, or at least they did not perceive me as their teacher, which was just kind of problematic. So plus the, like, I don't know if you taught ages that use cell phones, but my students could use cell phones in the classroom, and they were constantly like Snapchatting me as a tomato, and I was just like sick of it.
Oh my God.
I was just like, nothing in my teaching practicum taught me how to deal with like combating Snapchat filters. Like it just.
No, I haven't taught in a classroom since 2012, so it really wasn't that bad yet. iPhones were definitely around, but no one was Snapchatting, TikToking, and Facebooking constantly yet. Like it kind of started probably right around then. I think Instagram was invented in like 2012, so
yeah,
I didn't have to worry about that yet.
Yeah, and on like, part of me is like, that is such an important skill to learn, is how to be have phone hygiene and etiquette, like put your phone down when you're talking to people, when you want to focus. But quite frankly, there's a lot of adults that don't know how to maneuver that in their lives. And so I was having a really hard time trying to communicate that to high schoolers, like when there's probably plenty of adults in their life that don't have any idea how to do that. So
Right.
Yeah, I wasn't long for teaching. I've always kind of kept it on the shelf as like maybe a someday go back to. I think if you've got the passion for helping others learn, it's a gift. So I shouldn't count it out completely. But I went back to school at Tufts University for agriculture, food and environment, public policy. I was really driven to understanding the systems at the government level, and how they support food production, food marketing, food export, and food import in the United States. And frankly, a lot more locally to bring it back to Pennsylvania. So my goal was always to work in agriculture policy in Pennsylvania, and I was lucky enough to find a job doing exactly that right after graduation. So I guess.
What year did you graduate?
Date me. I graduated undergrad in 2018, grad school 2018.
All right.
Back into, I think, if I only
The connection's getting slow again.
If I
You there?
Yeah.
Oh, Jeff Kundratic to stop streaming movies while he's setting up the tent.
I know.
He might be TikToking right now. He's Snapchatting right now. He's slowing. He's eating up the bandwidth.
He might be.
That's all right. While you get that squared away, I have another announcement I was supposed to make earlier. Kind of a frightening announcement. I mean, not frightening, but it's concerning, we'll say. Maple Grove put out a statement today, and I guess a lot of tracks are being affected by it right now, that there is a traction compound shortage. Have anybody heard about this yet? So they're moving all their racing to 8th Mile right now. All their bracket racing has gone to 8th Mile, which I've seen a lot of bracket racing going to 8th Mile at this point. And everybody that bracket races seems to like that. I don't get it because, I don't know. I thought drag racing was supposed to be 1/4 mile. But anyways, they said it's very difficult to find traction compound. And I don't know if that's like going to affect like all the tracks we race at. I mean, is that affecting new media this weekend? Is that, should I be worried? Should I be, setting suspension and clutch up differently at this point? Like, this is just add another item to the list of shortages right now. Is driving me crazy. Like, what the hell is going on? And when are we ever going to get back to normal here?
Yeah, I don't know if you can hear me.
I can hear you. Start commiserating with me now.
Yeah, you know what? I thought that Maple Grove handled that pretty well. Their explanation seemed pretty balanced as far as like this is what's happening. We're being straight up about it, but also bracket racers, prepare yourselves for bracket finals. And I didn't read all the comments, admittedly. I was driving, and there was quite a few comments, but it seemed like people were kind of okay with it, at least the bracket racers. I don't know how that's going to affect us, though.
I'm sure, at the national event, they're going to have somebody's going to have traction compound, and we'll be 1/4 mile. But I bracket raced at Maple Grove for a while, and it just seems like everything is going to 8th Mile now. I guess it's just a preferred racing of choice, especially big money. And I guess it's just easier, faster, maybe even less insurance involved and less wear and tear on parts. So that's what's going on, everybody. Traction compound shortage, among a million other things that are experiencing a shortage right now. And it's probably costing more money.
Maple Grove's the first one that I've heard, be upfront about it, though. So I'm kind of curious if other places are experiencing it and not saying anything, or what's kind of going on there. I don't know. Maybe I don't want to open any conspiracy theories. Maybe I shouldn't have said that.
Well, you're in the agricultural world. There's shortage. I keep reading about wheat shortages and food shortages.
Yeah.
Is that something I need to start preparing for? I hear there's commercials on the radio. Like, should I be buying canned food and storing it somewhere? Like,
it's probably not a bad idea.
Schmuck that doesn't prepare for anything. All right.
It's probably not a bad idea, but I wouldn't say, in terms of related to anything we're going through right now. Most of that, as you've probably heard, is related to the war in Ukraine, and not to be political about that or anything, but there's going to be a lot of some of our largest storage of fertilizer or fertilizer inputs comes from that part of the world too. So it really could exacerbate a global food crisis if things don't get settled there. Not to scare anyone, but it'll continue to drive those prices. We operate on a global economy, and just being factual about it, it impacts when things are happening in other parts of the world. It's going to impact either imports or exports of things that we have here in the U.S. That's just fact, not not anything but. So,
All right.
Yeah, but
All right,
stock.
I'll get you off of that. You
Stock
could run for office. I like your answers today. They're just so well balanced and politically correct.
One of the beautiful things about the career path that I'm in, and specifically like the area that I'm in, is that agriculture is really nonpartisan. There's not, you could go a lot of ways on different topics within it, but everybody eats, everybody uses agricultural products. And so at the end of the day, we all got to figure out the answer for agriculture. So I get to dance around these answers all the time because my answers are just factual about what we need to do and what needs to happen for it to keep our bellies full and keep our cars full of gas.
And it's costing more to do both. That's for sure.
This is true.
We have a nice question here from Kelly Kundratic. Kelly, I'm just wondering if you could do one thing for the rest of your life, what would it be? I never know the answer to this, so good luck.
Really? I think that's my mom. I'll admit she's incredible supporter of everything that I've taken on. And I think she's probably just trying to triangulate my next move so that she can be prepared. So this is probably more a strategy question for her than it is for me to try to think about what I want to do with my life. I guess the answer that, and again, it's not going to be straightforward, is that I've been really fortunate to find a pathway for everything I've had a passion for in my life. And so if I could do one thing for the rest of my life, it would be to continue to find pathways for my passions. Drag racing is one of them. Agriculture is another. It's just been it's been an incredible blessing to live a life on purpose and to be able to do that. I wonder a lot about what the heck I'm going to do next. And I'm trying to focus on what I'm doing now and doing that really well, then start worrying about the future. Because if you're focused on the present, you can't be worried about anything, because anxiety comes from worrying about the future and other things. So just focus on the present. Sorry, Mom, you're not going to get off that easy. I have no idea. It's probably going to be something I'm really passionate about, though.
I know, but I like it because I'm stealing two parts of this answer. The one was live in the present, because worrying is about the future, and I do that a lot. My wife, tells me you're going to get wrinkled. That's all you do is worry. So taking that one. And then the other one, pathway to what you are passionate about. I like that because that's basically, I guess I could say that's the same thing I'm doing. I don't know the one thing that I want to do for the rest of my life. I have projects. I have things that I get very passionate about. Some of them are probably going to go, for the rest of my life, like racing and something like this, anything to do with racing. But I need to circle back around. I went to school to be an engineer, and I think I stopped for all the wrong reasons. I was in college and kind of partying, and then ended up becoming a math teacher instead, which is fulfilling and definitely gave me a nice living. But if I ever do get like wealthy enough to go back to college and like not have to work, I'm going to go back and get that engineering degree. And I always wanted to be an actor, and I was like trying to do that when I was young, and was like getting in movies as an extra. So I'm going to pursue that again too, engineering and acting. So those are my pathways to my passion.
I'm learning all
so
kinds.
If your mom was asking me, there's my answer, Kathy.
That's really cool, though. I did not know that about you. So I love watching interviews like this, learning about people in the racing community, because you always find something, you learn something new about these people that you're kind of running alongside for so long. We see each other season after season. We think we know enough about other people just to know, like, hey, I know that guy. But it's cool when you can take that a step further and learn about what other people care about, what their passions are, what you know, sets their heart on fire. It's pretty cool.
That's right. By the way, Cameron Ferret, okay, top alcohol dragster, and I think Nitro.
Yeah.
Do you know he was a child actor and he's in movies?
I learned that probably through watching something in like a oil down, like one of the videos they have that runs during an oil down. Like NHRA has up on the screen, and they talk about
yeah, on like the Sunoco Vision.
Yeah, exactly. I learned that at some point on those, and I was like, no kidding, that's cool.
Right. And then I actually saw a movie with him in it, Jack Frost with Michael Keaton. Cameron plays one of the bad kids, like a bully. He plays one of the bullies.
That's kind of
in the beginning.
Not acting, but did you know that Jordan Vandergriff is on the latest season of The Bachelorette?
No.
Oh, he is.
All right.
Yeah, I'm not a big reality TV person, and I quite frankly wouldn't know anything about The Bachelorette if it weren't for Marina has been sending me updates about they just, I guess the newest season just started, but Jordan Vandergriff is like on The Bachelorette. He's one of the, I don't even know how many dudes the girl goes on dates with. I don't know. Like, I'm the worst. Do not pick me for trivia about like pop culture things, because I know nothing about pop culture.
I've never seen those shows. I lived with a dude that was on one of them. I liked living with him. He was, he always had beautiful women coming to our house every weekend. So they weren't coming to visit me though. They were coming to visit him. But hey, that was back then, honey. Not now. All right.
Yeah.
I'll get myself in trouble here. Okay.
So, no. Anyways, I don't. It would be, frankly, it would be cool if the Bachelorette stuff made people, like, if this is a total publicity stunt for like getting people into drag racing, I'm totally down for it. Like, that's genius. But I don't know if it is or not. Good save, Bobby.
Thanks, Pete.
I'm
gonna get myself killed over here. Well, talk about getting people into racing. Like, Kelly, you and I have got to get younger people into this form of racing. Now, I dedicate, a lot of my time to getting, stock and super stock classes on the stage and noticed and in front of people. You come from the .90 world, the super street, super comp, super gas world, which is definitely hard for the unknowing fan to watch those classes. Those are drivers' classes. Drivers love going to the finish line and watching those classes. What are we going to do to get, all these Lucas Oil Series classes, like some more maybe spectator views and maybe some TV time and maybe some new racers, maybe somebody that comes to the race for the first time and says, hey, I want to try that, because really we're all getting it from our parents and we need some, it always helps to have some newer blood into the sport. You got any good ideas there?
That's tough. That's right. If I had the answer to solving this issue, like, I'd feel a lot better about myself, better about the future of the sport. I don't have the singular answer to this, but it's actually a lot like farming. A lot of people don't get into farming because the barrier to entry is really high. It's either they're born into a farming family and they inherit the farm. You're starting to see a lot more people passionate about it, though, and wanting to get into that type of career path. So I don't know. I think something that's helped me get other people interested in racing is just sharing my story and sharing what it means to me. And I think that's something that a lot of racers should be doing, is sharing about their racing and their career. for a long time, I didn't want to talk to anybody about my racing because I was made fun of as a kid for it. People thought that I was showing off, or that it was a weird hobby, or weird for doing that. Girls don't do that. That's, XYZ, 100 different things. And I stopped talking about it for a long time. Actually, as recently as starting this job that I'm in now, early on, my boss thought it was really cool. And he was like, I want you to talk to some of the local publications, and would you be interested in doing that? And I was like, it's not a big deal. What I do is not a big deal. And I'm so glad that I've changed in the way that I think that everybody's story is important. My story isn't any more important than anyone else's, but we should all feel equal power in talking about what we do. And I think that being more human about it helps other people relate to it, see that passion, see that authenticity, and think, oh, well, maybe I could do that too. So I also think that us as racers, we can't snub our nose to people asking us questions about what we do. If they come out to the track, spend some time talking to those people, invite them in your pit, show them your car, let them see the inside. That is an unforgettable experience for people who don't have a lot of touch points with high horsepower vehicles. So definitely, if you have the time to do that, take the time to do that. They took their time to come out to the races and spend their money seeing it. So I guess that's just my kind of insight as to what we can do about this. I can't solve the affordability problem. I'm trying to solve that on my own.
Yeah, I know, right?
But what I can do is just talk about my experience and hope that other people, can relate to just being passionate about something and chasing a dream. And yeah.
It forces you to work hard. It forces you to find ways to make money. It forces you to do a lot of different, side jobs. I had multiple jobs. When I was teaching and tutoring, I've worked at a restaurant since I was a kid, parking cars, valeting cars, getting really good at driving expensive cars. Practicing and getting paid for it. So
put that on your driver resume,
right? I mean, it definitely it gives you a drive to make money because the sport is just so damn expensive. But that's just the way it is. That's part of the competition. Walt Walker, it's hurricane season, Bob. You should already have canned food. Yeah, I probably do have some cans buried in there from 2015. So they don't expire. They don't go bad, right? So I should be good to go. All right.
I would check. I mean, some do. You got a pretty good runway though. I won't scare you. You're probably safe from 2015.
I don't know. The face you just made me nervous. So I guess I have to check.
Double check.
All right. So new media this weekend. New Media Dragway Division 1. Well, they have a national open that starts tomorrow.
Yes.
Tomorrow and what day is it? Thursday. Tomorrow and Friday, right?
Yep.
And then points race, Division 1 points race on Saturday and Sunday, right? Did I get that right?
Yeah, I think so. Frankly, this race wasn't on my radar. By the time July hits, I'm like, I just want a break. I'm tired, usually in the schedule. But the more I thought about it, I had to take off some other races to do the top alcohol stuff. And in our kind of racing, grade points are really important if you want to enter national events, if you want to, think about years ahead. So, Peter, that's really nice of you. Thank you.
Thanks, Peter. Great interview, Kelly. Thank you for bringing this delightful young lady to our forum and giving her the exposure.
Delightful might be my favorite new adjective to describe. I'm just kidding. Might be the first time.
He is delightful. Look. And one of the nicest smiles in drag racing. See, everybody? See what I do for everybody? I bring people on this show.
Oh, I appreciate it. Yeah, so New Media is this weekend. It's my I don't know. I'm equidistant between New Media and Reading as my home track. So we're here this weekend. It wasn't on my radar to come here, but like I said, grade points are important in our kind of racing. So if I could pick up 2 in one tow, all the better.
Absolutely, get it done. I can't come to the Open, so I will be there for the divisional.
Oh, cool.
And I will see you there. Anybody else that's going to be there this weekend, make sure you stop by and say hello. I will be running Super Stock this weekend, and I can't wait to get out there. I haven't raced, since the Maple Grove Divisional. I had to miss the Lebanon Valley Divisional, which I was planning to go to, and I don't know. I hope I'm not rusty. Like this could be a rough weekend, you know. It's not like bracket racing where I used to race like every weekend, and you would always be like pretty sharp. Now, you know, class racing, it's like you don't race for 2 months, and you get back in the car, and it's got to be like riding a bike. So
yeah,
Kelly, you are running. I'm sure you probably already said it, and my memory is so bad, but you're running index racing this weekend. You're running Top Alcohol. They're not having Top Alcohol at New Media, right?
no, this track is a little short for
Right.
it. They used to in the past run like real fast stuff here. They're actually moving if Top Sportsman and Top Dragster are both here, I think they are. They're moving them both to 8th Mile. Is what
I read that. Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
So no alcohol here, and both tops are moving to 8th Mile. So.
All right. So just Super Street for you in the Monte Carlo.
Yep, here in Super Street. If anybody comes out and is walking around the pits, you cannot miss us. We're right behind the Winter Circle Lucas Oil tent. Couple plugs for Lucas Oil, if I could. We've got contingency. If you've not yet signed up for contingency, make sure you come over and do that. Support the sponsors that support us through Lucas Oil Contingency. If you have signed up for Lucas Oil Contingency, come on over and enter yourself into a raffle. We are doing a raffle at each of the races to win yourself a free entry. So why not? That sounds like a pretty great deal.
Right.
Come on over and take advantage of that. You, like I said, can't miss us. We're right behind the Winter Circle. Hopefully we'll be on the other side of the Winter Circle in it at some point this weekend. But until then, we're parked right behind it, and you can come by and get your raffle or get signed up for a contingency.
And what do I have to do? Buy a certain dollar amount of oil and or transmission fluid, right?
Yes, there's a buy-in for both. I think it's 175, 100 for oil, 75 for trans fluid. So 175 per car if you do both.
Okay, there you have it. So Lucas Oil contingency.
Oh, one more thing that is not a buy-in, no purchase necessary. Each of the races this year, Lucas Oil's done this pretty cool thing. They have individual event stickers that you can collect for each of the events that you go to. So if you haven't been collecting those this season, we probably have all of the previous races in Division 1, but you can collect an event sticker, which is something new, something neat. They've done it at national events for years and years, but with the oval, these not. Yeah. So the oval is the national event one. The divisional ones, I don't have one within reach, but they're rectangular and they have the event and the event information on them. So if you're missing any,
I
have them.
I'm missing Cecil County. Do you have one of those from May?
I'm sure we do. So we'll get you hooked up with those. But anybody else that's here at New Media this weekend that wants some of those stickers, collectibles for each of the races, make sure you stop by and come get them.
Absolutely. I will be by. I want Cecil County. I like to put I won that event, so whenever I win something, I like to have the sticker and put it on the car somewhere.
Heck yeah. Heck yeah.
Make sure you save me one. All right?
I will. I'll search them out right after this.
And speaking of the contingency sign up there, I want to keep everybody updated with the contingency payers from Cecil County. I won that event in late May, I think it was, May 20-something, and today is July 6th. And so far, I was paid by ATI right away, Denso right away, VP Race Fuels, Summit, and Autometer right away. All those vendors paid within 2 or 3 weeks. ATI paid in like week 1. Denso paid in week 1, so they were quick. Ford has paid. Edelbrock intake manifolds has paid. Comp Cams has paid. That's also Edelbrock. And McLeod Clutches has taken care of me like they always do. Still waiting on Jegs, Moser, Mickey Thompson, and Manly Springs. So just want to keep everybody updated on the contingency sponsors that are paying. I was not signed up for Lucas Oil, and I don't know why. I just totally just didn't think to do it, and I lost out on some money. So that's what happens, guys. It's
you gotta pay to
you
play.
gotta do it.
You gotta win to win. So
You gotta be in it to win it, right?
Yep.
So
there you go.
All right. Shame on me. Shame on me. Kelly, thank you for joining us. Good luck this weekend in Super Street. I'll be seeing you there. Anybody that is going to be at the race, come say hello to me. Come say hello to Kelly. They're going to be at, a nice display. Lucas Oil. Me, I'll probably be buried out in the field somewhere. So come and find me. I got the red Mustang. All right. We look forward to seeing you, saying hello, and appreciate you all following along. So find us on Facebook and Instagram at Driver Interviews. Anybody that's watching on YouTube right now, hit the red subscribe button. That helps us out. So if you're not on YouTube right now and you're watching on Facebook, if you just go to my website, driverinterviews.com, there's a big button there. It's going to flash up in your face that says YouTube. Click it, hit the red subscribe button. Thank you very much. Show is also brought to you by Drag Insights. Go to app.draginsights.com. Check out your stats. Check out your opponent's stats. I mean, that's the best part of it. Research your opponent before you go out there and see what they tend to do. We have so many features on there. How many times they cross first? How many times they cross last? How many times they red light? How many times they green light? Anything you can get yourself an edge on your opponent, you got to do it. Sign up for premium membership there. That gets you contingency eligibility. Remember, it's app.draginsights.com. If you win or runner-up as a premium member, you get a membership extension of a year or 6 months. A year for a win, 6 months for a runner-up. If you win all the time, like Kelly does, you don't have to keep taking that extension. You can gift it to somebody. She can give it to her dad. She can give it to her mom. She can give it to anybody if she doesn't want to stack up all these years. All right, so that's app.draginsights.com. All right, Kelly, thanks for joining us. Do you want to say anything to your fans here that are watching?
I just want to give a quick shout out to the sponsors for our top alcohol team this year. We've got Powder Coat Finishes out of Baltimore, Maryland, JKR Racing Products, Lucas Oil on board for us, and it's our partnership with the Anderson Family Dragster team. So just wanted to give all of those great companies that support us a shout out. And Bobby, this was so much fun. Thanks. I'm honored that I was the first guest on this. This is a really cool setup, and appreciate you.
All right. Thank you for joining us. Thanks, everybody, for watching. Kelly, I'll see you this weekend. Everybody, take care. Have a good night. Safe travels. Anybody going to New Media.